Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this Committee on Economic Development, Energy, and Tourism. It's 1 o'clock on April 17th in room 225. We have a number of resolutions on our agenda. Just to let the audience know, we are live streaming this via YouTube. If we have any kind of technical difficulties, we will post notice as to when we will reconvene. For those who plan to testify via Zoom or in person, we are going to limit testimony to 1 minute, and don't have to adjust your TVs because I'm not Lindy Coit. Unfortunately, she's sick today, so she's handed over the duties to myself. So we'd like to move forward on these 3 House concurrent resolutions. The first one being HCR 70 HD1, requesting DBED to convene a sports wagering working group to conduct an analysis of the potential legalization and regulation of online sports wagering in Hawaii. On our testifiers list, we have DBED. Can you represent? Oh, Dr. Tia.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and the members of the committee. Jin Tian from DBED. We will do the study without asking any resources, but asking for extension until next year. Without half year, maybe a little too short. And we don't want you to read too many reports. Maybe delay these reports into the next year. And I'm here for questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Tian. Rebecca London from DraftKings has submitted testimony in support. Kathleen Owen, Sports Betting Alliance has submitted testimony in, might be joining us via Zoom. Actually, I'm sorry. Rebecca London is joining us via Zoom. Sorry, could we go to Rebecca first?
Good afternoon, members of the Committee on Energy, Economic Development, and Tourism. My name is Rebecca London. I'm a Senior Government Affairs Manager for DraftKings, a digital sports entertainment and gaming company live with mobile and/or retail sports betting operations in 27 states. We support a sports wagering framework in Hawaii that protects consumers, generates revenue for the state, and stamps out the pervasive illegal market. We would welcome the opportunity to work with DBED and other interested parties to review what legalization and regulation of sports wagering could look like in Hawaii. The intent of this resolution is to consider what legal sports wagering could look like in Hawaii by learning from the dozens of other states that have legalized and how that may or may not make sense for a market in Hawaii. Amendments made in the House were intended to make clear this report should not be overly burdensome on DBED and its resources. Thank you for your time. I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Rebecca. We're going to go on to Kathleen Owen from Sports Betting Alliance.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Wakai and members of the committee. My name is Kathleen Owen, and I'm an attorney with the law firm Orrick, Harrington, and Sutcliffe. Thank you so much for your time on this resolution. I am testifying in support on behalf of my clients, the Sports Betting Alliance, which I will refer to as the SBA. I've also submitted written testimony on behalf of the SBA, and you just heard from one of our members, Rebecca London, with DraftKings. In addition to DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, and Fanatics are also members. We welcome this resolution and the opportunity to participate in a sports wagering working group to conduct this analysis. We've worked cooperatively with legislators and regulators across the country to develop sports wagering frameworks that apply best practices while also addressing the unique needs of the individual states. So we welcome that opportunity to do so in Hawaii. We are looking to work collaboratively with all stakeholders and all departments. There have been a few bills pending on this subject in the last few years, and we understand there are some open questions around legalizing sports betting. We're just looking to further the conversation with the legislature and the stakeholders and anticipate this would be a series of discussions that could be completed by the end of this year. Thank you. See, my time is up, so I'll stop.
Thank you, Kathleen. Shane Swam from Prize Picks has submitted commentary. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on HCR 70? Members, any questions?
I have a question.
Senator Favela.
Is anybody from the Sports Alliance?
That was Rebecca London. Yeah. Rebecca, are you still there? Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Alliance. Sorry, Rebecca's from DraftKings. Kathleen Owen. Sorry, Kathleen Owen. You're still there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the question is for this study, and it looks like, does it have a money amount for you?
Sir, a money amount? Invo-
To D-bed,
D-bed said he can do it for free.
200,000, 2 million, sorry.
Yeah, Debet said they
Even
didn't
said they can do it.
Oh, they're not gonna
no-
do it with all
no
money.
cost.
All right, is that a front? Anyway, going forward, I just wanted to know, all these outside entities, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody who's working in Hawaii, trying to get this done over the decades and years, which is great. But I feel if we're gonna entertain any kind of sports gambling or any kind of gambling in Hawaii, it should be coming from Hawaii, and the money should stay in Hawaii with a study with DBED or with anybody else, because I think we have more than enough people capable in our state to craft and come up with drafting and legislation to go forward with sports gambling. The problem with sports gambling or gambling in its sense, the money doesn't really all stay here. I'm selfish. If we're gonna do something with gambling or organizing any kind of sports gambling, I want all the money stay here. I don't want nothing going to the 9th Island, 10th Island, Chinaman's Hat. I want it all stay here on Oahu, on the neighbor islands, because that's the problem. We have outside entities making the decisions for us. We get pennies to the dollars. And that's something that I cannot support until I can know that DBED is gonna be working with somebody locally and the money is gonna be 100% in Hawaii. If not, I cannot support this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Any further questions? I have a question for you, Kathleen. In follow-up to Senator Favella's commentary, I think we all want to see as much local impact as possible if this were to be something we advance. Is there any possibility that we could have like a sports entity, like a DraftKings based in Hawaii, or could have a locally backed betting entity, so it's not going to be sending Hawaii dollars to wherever the mainland entity might be situated?
That's a great question, sir. I'd have to follow up on that and get back to you. I'm not sure if Ms. London has a further response at that time, but we can certainly look into that and get back to you. Our operators are very experienced national companies and would welcome the opportunity to bring that experience and expertise to these conversations. The tax revenue would be entirely going to Hawaii for the benefit of Hawaii residents to be used as the legislature decides to allocate that. And we have no opinion at all on how the legislature would allocate those dollars. But you are correct that the operators, my understanding, are based elsewhere outside of Hawaii.
Thank you.
Sure, just a follow-up question to that.
Of course.
And thank you for that, Chair. So it brings me up to another concern. So now we have these outside operators. How much of them is going to be in the United States, or how much of this is going to be outside to foreign countries like Philippines, India, China, Korea, all areas that is very sensitive to our, again, confidentiality in our, elderly gambling or our community gambling. How is that going to be outsourced to foreign countries, guaranteeing that we're not going to have identity theft, or somebody's going to take over somebody's home in Hawaii because they gambling? So that's another thing. If you guys operators is not going to be hired or operating within the United States, even more so, I cannot support this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Sorry, one more question for Kathleen.
Yes, sir.
You talk about a tax benefit for the state, and I'm wondering, like, what exactly gets taxed? Is it the action? If I put on $100 bet, do I get taxed on $100, or do I get taxed on if I get $90 back from that win? Does that get taxed, or does the houses take the 10%? I guess is what Vegas does, right? Does the 10% get taxed? What exactly gets taxed, and what windfall is Hawaii going to expect from passing potential online wagering in the state?
Yeah, so excellent question. And let me try to give an answer to that. And Ms. London, also, if you want to correct anything I say or add to it. So my understanding essentially is if you were to place, $100 worth of bets and you were to win essentially $90, that $10 that is withheld by the operators, they pay the tax on that $10 that they are receiving. Whether any residents directly would have to pay any tax to the state, I defer to the state's tax laws on that.
So we're only taxing the juice, right? The house take, not the
That's the revenue figures. Yes, the revenue figures that we estimate based on what Hawaii could could potentially earn from sports betting revenue in the state is based on that number, that amount that is earned by the operator from the sports betting wager, to the extent that, you know, the person doesn't receive the money back.
Senator Kim?
So the $10 is distributed, not all of it goes back to the state as income or taxes, right? How is that $10?
Great clarification. So the tax rate would be applied to that amount of money. So whatever tax rate is assessed, that's part of the development of the legislation. That would be something that would be discussed in the working group, and that would be, the legislature would have an opinion on what that rate was. And so it would be that tax rate applied to that $10.
So we
Thank you
would
for
create
that
a
clarification.
separate tax rate for this. And if the
Yes,
tax rate is, say, 25%, would it be 25% of $10, or would that $10 grow because there's already other entities that is being allocated monies from that $10?
So my understanding is that if it were to be 25%, it would be 25% of that $10. And Ms. London, please correct me if you think I have any of that incorrect.
So it doesn't matter what our percentage is, it'll come off of $10. So if we say we want 50%, then we get half of the $10, and the $5 would then go to whoever's, versus $7.50 going to others. I don't see how that number can be stagnant. Then it would have to come somewhere, right? If you have an overhead of X amount and you're only allocating, say, only allocating 10% of the $10 to the state, but our legislation says we want 50%, then what would happen then?
I apologize. I'm not sure if I'm entirely following the question. So the tax rate that is decided upon that would be implemented into the legislation would be the tax rate that is applied to that $10. In terms of any other fees allocated, there are often licensing fees that are assessed on the operator in connection with getting the license to operate the sports betting with the state, or other costs like that. I'm not sure if that's part of your question.
Yeah, so I would say, where would that cost come from? So would the take then be $80 instead of 90, because now the state's taking 50% or more? I'm just saying, where would that percentage come from? Because if we say we want 100%.
Well, they would be, if you took 100% of the money that the operator retained from the sports betting, they wouldn't make any money from the sports
Right,
betting. So
right.
They would be able to operate in the state.
Exactly. So I'm trying to get a handle on what's that amount that they would need or want to have to operate. So is it $5 of the $10? Is it $7.50? Is it $2.50? Because, you know, we'll determine the tax rate, but then if they require more, then is it going to come out of the $90 that the winner gets?
I think if I'm understanding correctly, you might be asking about like the odds and how the numbers are
No,
placed on the wager and how
no.
it's decided what somebody might be. No, okay.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking what the house take is. So if the house take is $10, because they have to pay the runners, I'm just using runners and do whatever, they need $10. But the state comes in and say, wait a minute, we want our share, we want 25% of that $10. So
Yes.
now they have $25, 25% less for that. So they're not gonna want to operate, so they're gonna insist they get more, right?
No, so the tax rates vary per state, and that's something we can absolutely come in and talk about during the working group. So in many states, the tax rate is around 10%. Some states it's a bit higher. Some states it's higher than that. But that is just a standard piece of the operating that they have to deal with in every single state. So that's
Okay, so it's still $10 no matter what the tax rate is. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's my understanding, that wouldn't change. Like what the number would be. So whatever it was, if somebody bet, if somebody bet $50 and they won back $45, and now there's a $5 that the operator is retaining, they would pay the tax rate on that $5. So they're paying the tax rate on whatever it is that they retain that the person is not winning back, that they are retaining as a profit.
Have states restricted the amount of house takes. So if you had like somebody who did parlays and like made it even more sexy to bet on multiple games at one time, that I'm going to take 15% for giving you that option. I mean, is there a limitation on how much the house can take for whatever the bet might be?
So that's beyond my area of expertise. I would have to follow up on that and get back to you.
But you're with the Sports Betting Alliance, right? That you should know what the industry standards are.
I am absolutely working to learn everything I can about it, but that is more specific than I have an answer to presently, but I will absolutely follow up on that with you.
But you're saying that in other states only tax the juice, what the house gets. But in addition to taxing the juice, we can tax the winnings, right? So if I win $90 and plenty of $90, don't I have to pay income tax or I don't know if it's capital gains tax on that as well? So I pay income tax on that newfound wealth, correct?
So we would defer to the state of Hawaii and the tax laws of Hawaii that I'm not familiar with. But yes, it's possible that an individual resident or an individual who's betting in Hawaii would be required to pay some form of state income tax as well.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions?
So, you know, on the online gambling, so like say I want to play poker, you guys provide poker. So I'm not gonna just go on and type in sports gambling and I'm gonna get it for free. There's gonna be a charge, right? A surcharge for you guys putting this up on as sports gambling. Isn't that another way of them generating income for the house?
So to my knowledge, there is not a fee to download an app and to play on the app, but also we're specifically addressing sports wagering here. So you wouldn't be able to play poker through a sports betting app specifically. That would be iGaming, which is different and not something that we are discussing currently as part of this resolution.
Okay, 5 basketball games in one night, and I want to bet on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a charge?
Not to my knowledge, there's not some sort of specific charge. Like if you put a parlay down on 5 different basketball games that you would just see when you go to place it. So if you could see, like, if I put $10 down on these 5 games, this is how much I would win off of that $10 if I were to win it. So you could see what that number would be.
Right.
But there's not some sort of charge to your account other than whatever you place the bet for. So if you're placing the $10 bet, you'll see that $10 deducted from your account. And then if you win, you'll get that money back that you can see that you would earn. You'd earn that $10 back plus the piece that you can see that you would profit from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Any further questions? No?
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
Okay. Did you?
So DBED is going to lead this working group. Is that what it is? This is a working.
That is the requirement by the bill.
Okay. It says conduct an analysis of the potential legalization. So who would actually do that? I see who's individuals, but I don't necessarily see experts in gaming.
I think you are absolutely right. We are not expert in this. We will be organizing. I think my understanding is that we'll be hosting this working group, organizing, scheduling the meetings and recording the discussions. And finally, we'll prepare a report based on the discussion.
So who will do the actual legwork of getting all the documentation and information that's out there? Like, who's going to find out what other states have been doing and so forth? Who actually is doing that work?
I think to be objective, because I think a lot of stakeholders, they are subjective. They support with some kind of purpose in mind to do the research objectively. That's why we are saying that if we do that comprehensive study, we will need to do surveys. The survey will go to the general attorney's office of the states with this, with these activities, and also go to their revenue department, such as the Department of Taxation.
So who will do that? Who will actually send out all that information, find out who to send it to, when the information comes in, who's going to be actually putting it all together and so forth?
Right. I think if we have money, we'll hire a consultant, but no money, we will do it in-house. That's why, because we have 2 vacancies, economist vacancies, That's why we are asking for a longer time so we can do with the in-house resources.
Okay,
So DBED will do that.
okay. And then you will then share that information with this group of people, and then they're going to make the analysis?
If they agree or they have any comment or any feedback. So we will do the survey, we'll find the facts from all the state have this activity. Then we'll report to the working group and seeking for feedbacks. Then we will do the final documentation.
Okay, I guess I'm just concerned that there's people, I mean, we've seen working groups, right? And the working groups just come together, they're volunteers, they don't get paid, they sit there, no experts in the area. You're gonna give them the information, just like if you gave it to one of our committees, and we're gonna make that final decision. So I'm just saying how accurate or credible getting that information from these 8 people. It's just their opinions, right, at this point. And all the time and effort. How many working groups? And I think I asked this question before. So do you remember how many working groups that you guys already have right now and how many studies you have ongoing?
Yeah, for this the working group in our division, Research Economic Analysis Division, we never had such experience. We never had one. This will be the first one, and we need some learning curve. We need to learn how to do it.
So is there anybody in DBET that has experience in doing research, this kind of research?
I think other divisions, they have experience having working group, and they may have they have board. For example, we have a lot of agencies, they have board, but the research division, we didn't have a board, we never even worked with the.
So why are we
Working group.
having you guys do it? Then why are we creating the wheel?
It may not be coming to our division, but if it is assigned to our division, we will just do a survey in-house, but mostly it will be opinion. I think you're right, it will be the opinion, we'll document the opinion.
So how valid is that? Why do you need this resolution then if you're just gonna do an opinion? Can't you just do the opinion now? On your own?
We know the opinion from the testimony. I did read the testimony, but I think with some time, we will do surveys of other states. So those will be facts, the facts finding from other states,
Right.
how they practice.
Yeah, but we can do that now, right? I can go and ask NCSL to get me the survey from other states to see what they did. I mean, don't take a working group to do that. But again, how many of these working groups and studies that DBET is doing? I think there were like, what, 20 some, they give us a report, 40 of them?
Not in his.
Not in my
But he said, but he's not even sure that they're
Right.
gonna do it and they don't have the expertise. So
Exactly.
overall, how many of those are being done already at DBET? It's just, to me, you folks keep taking on more and more of these studies and working groups. I just don't see what comes out of these working groups. Very few working groups we get anything concrete. So I'm just raising those concerns because there's another one today to ask DBET to do another working group,
Right.
right? And I don't know how many others we had this session already.
I don't know exactly how many for other divisions.
Okay, well, maybe you can have your director come before us or text him because certainly
All right.
he should be responding to these things. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. Any questions? If not, thank you, Dr. Chan. We're going to move on to House Concurrent Resolution 184 to have DBED collaborate with universities in the state to convene a Hawaii Creative Innovation Group. On our testifiers list, we have DBED.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Wakai and members of the committee. DBED stands by its written testimony on behalf of HCR 178. And thank you for this opportunity.
Mr. Andaya,
Rick Manayan.
Manayan, that's right.
Hi, Rick.
Thank you.
So Rick, what number of study is this one going to be?
This is the,
What number study will it be from DBED that we're working on now?
that we're working on. I think it's, well, this is the first version that we're.
No, that's not the question.
Rick, you can
Sit down. I just got to asking DBED, how
Yeah.
many working groups and studies DBED is currently undertaking and have on their books right now? Because that is spreading the the people thin at this
Yes.
point. And then I'm not even sure how
I don't
valid
have-
these results are going to be.
Okay, Senator, I don't have the answer to that question, because, you know, as we move along on the bills, we've been testifying, and I think I can get that answer for
Okay.
you. and get
Yeah,
back.
I hope in the future, and I've asked this in the previous, that's why I expect you to have that number. I've asked that question and they've sent it in to us, like how many studies and stuff. So before you guys come in and support all these studies, I want you guys to let us know what number of studies you are and who's working, because where's the manpower going to be and what kind of
Right.
credible information we're going to be getting out of these working groups.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Malai. Chris Lee from UH.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair, members of the committee, University of Hawaii. My name is Chris Lee. I'm here on behalf of Vasila Sirmos, and we support this effort to, I guess, bring us closer to DBET or break down silos, which is something we've been about from the beginning. But I couldn't tell you the specifics of it, unfortunately, and I don't know how many working groups they have.
Okay, but can I ask
Yeah,
something
sure,
that you
absolutely.
might? So have you folks ever talked to DBET about doing something like this?
I don't know the specifics of this, but for example, Ricky here, who is part of the Good Jobs Initiative that DBET is doing, we are working with them at our Windward Community College, and I'm taking them out shortly to visit West Oahu to see what we can do there.
Right, so why do we need a resolution? Can't you guys just work together and find out what are things that the state need? And if this is really needed, then shouldn't this be a priority? You guys just
Um,
take it on?
My understanding is this was generated out of the House, and it's not something that we asked for or.
Right, but do you
completely
think, so
understand.
do you think it's needed and do you think it's important?
I think it's important for everybody to work together. And if it brings us closer together in workforce development, I think that's. helpful.
Well, can you come together on something else? I mean, to me, to say you're in favor of this just because it'll bring people together or bring you guys closer together, is this something that should be undertaken? And if it is, then why aren't you folks taking the initiative and doing it? Why do you have to wait for a resolution to say we need to do this, program? I'm sorry, I just hear so many studies, so many working groups. And I just wonder why, if it's so important, we have to convene a Hawaii Creative Innovation Group.
I appreciate the concern, and as I mentioned, I don't know the details of it, unfortunately, but in concept, we certainly support it.
Okay, thank you.
Members, any questions of Mr. Manai or Chris Lee? Okay, if not, we're going to move on to the last resolution on this agenda. That is House Concurrent Resolution 213 HD2, requesting the State Energy Office to convene a renewable liquid fuels, get this, Donna, working group to study local production development and incentives for renewable liquid fuels. On our testifiers list, we have someone from the Energy Office.
Aloha. Aloha, Vice Chair Wakai, members of the committee, Gail Suzuki Jones from the Hawaii State Energy Office, here to stand on our written testimony with support and recommendations and comments.
Thank you for joining us. Lori Lum from the Airlines Committee of Hawaii.
Good afternoon. I'm also here with Mike Kabashi of Japan Airlines. We are in support of this resolution. The Airlines Committee of Hawaii represents both domestic and international carriers, and sustainable aviation fuel initiatives are a priority for an industry. Therefore, we are in support and would like to request an amendment to include a representative from the Airlines Committee of Hawaii to be invited to participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lori. Alicia Thompson from Nestle.
Aloha, Vice Chair and members. I'm Alicia Thompson. On behalf of Neste, we thank you for the opportunity to testify. We stand on our written testimony to strongly support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Chris Bennett from Pono Pacific.
Aloha, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Chris Bennett, Pono Pacific. We also stand on our written testimony in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Alana James from Hawaiian Airlines.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Wakai and members of the committee. My name is Alana James. I'm the Managing Director of Sustainability Initiatives at Hawaiian Airlines, and we will stand on our testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. Julie Yunker from Hawaii Gas.
Hi. Good afternoon, members of the, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Jill Yunker with Hawaii Gas. We stand on a written testimony and understanding that if a working group is going to be formed, we would like to be at the table on that. Renewable fuels is a big part of our decarbonization strategy. Part of the sustainable aviation fuels byproduct is renewable naphtha, which if that were to be able to come to fruition, that would be a big part of Hawaii Gas's ability to decarbonize our SNG plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Robert King from Pacific Biodiesel might be joining us via Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
How about Mark Inouye from PAR Hawaii? Also,
He's present on Zoom.
so welcome, Mark.
Hello, Vice Chair Wakai, members of the committee. I'm Mark Inouye from PAR Hawaii. We stand in our testimony in support of this resolution. Thank you for allowing us to testify. I'll be here for any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mark. Members, we have testimony all in support from Sean Williams, Airlines for America, Albert Chi, Island Energy Services, as well as Beth Anderson. All three of those individuals are in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on House Concurrent Resolution 213? If not, members, any questions? No? Okay. We are going to take a brief recess prior to making decisions. Thank you for your patience. We're reconvening our 1 o'clock hearing for the Committee on Economic Development, Energy, and Tourism for 3 resolutions on this agenda. The committee members have conferred on HCR 70 HD1. This is for DBED to look at online sports wagering. We would like to pass this out and take DBED's suggestion of having this report issued to us 20 days prior to the 2026 session instead of as outlined in the bill or the resolution right now, but 2025. So that is the one suggested amendment. Members, any discussion? If not, Senator Kim, I vote yes.
HCR 70 passed with amendments. Chair DeCoit is excused. Senator Kai, aye. Senator Fukunaga. Aye. I go to with reservation. Senator Favela.
Reservations.
Recommendation is adopted.
Okay. On the next measure, House Concurrent Resolution 184. This is to have DBED work with UH and other universities here to convene a Hawaii Creative Innovation Group. The suggestion for this measure is to pass it out as is. Any discussion? If not, Senator Kim, I vote yes.
Okay, any member voting no? Any member voting with reservation?
Reservation.
I vote reservations. Recommendations adopted.
Okay, thank you. On the last measure, House Concurrent Resolution 213 HD2. This is to have the State Energy Office convene Donna Kim's favorite working group to look at renewable fuels, liquid fuels. We'd like to make 2 amendments to this resolution. One, have a representative from the Airlines of America on this working group, as well as Hawaii Gas onto this working group. So those are the 2 suggested amendments. Any discussion?
Yeah, so since it's my favorite working group, I would think on all of these working groups and in the future, those of you who are supported should come back next year when we have these reports, and you folks should be speaking on it and telling us how fruitful or how successful these working groups have been. So with that.
Yep. And Senator Kim will be in charge of the Senate Working Group on Accountability.
Yes, just a little bit too. So I changed my vote for the online thing. I want to see this thing go through. And the reason why I went reservations, I was going to oppose it. But same like what Senator Kim said, if they're going to do this, come by. I've been here for, what, not as long as everybody else. I never hear one working group come back and tell me anything, especially the one in my community with North Road. Nothing. zero. So if they go, I know, like how Senator Kim said, I'll be her vice chair.
Okay. Introduce the resolution, we'll pass that resolution.
Really,
New
pass the
committee.
bill. Every
a
time
new
we have a
working group.
study, we should have it. All right. Okay, so this is HCR 213, pass unamended or with amendments?
With amendments, so
With
we're adding Hawaii
amendments.
Gas
Right.
as well as the Airline Association. Oh, yeah, Airline Community of Hawaii. So 2 added members to this working group. And then Donnie, you want to
Sure,
be on
does
this group
nobody
too?
else want to join this group?
Angela?
Sure, show up at the door. Maybe there's people outside want to join this group.
Oh, wait, Angela wants to join the group.
Okay.
So those 2 amendments. Any discussion? If not, Senator Kim, I vote yes.
Okay, so Wakai, yes, Senator Decoy is excused, Senator Fukunaga. Aye. Senator, I vote with reservation, Senator Favela.
Resolution.
Okay, recommendations adopted.
Great, thanks, a lot of work to do. Richard.